When a woman truly begins to fall in love, she almost never says it out loud. Not because she's playing games, not because she's calculating, but because the process isn't conscious. She doesn't sit down one day and decide, I'm going to fall in love. It simply starts with a different feeling, and at first, she doesn't even know what it is. Female attraction doesn't come from logic. It doesn't respond to promises, speeches, or well-structured plans. It comes from a repeated emotional experience, and this is key to understand. Many men think that making a woman fall in love means convincing her, explaining their value, proving their intentions, or ensuring future stability. But emotion is not activated by explanation, it's activated by perception. From attachment psychology, based on theories developed by researchers like John Bowlby, we know that bonding is not built through words, but through internal feelings of safety and consistency. A woman doesn't attach to what you say, she attaches to how she feels when she's with you. She can hear a man tell her she's special and feel nothing deep, and yet she can find herself constantly thinking about someone who didn't talk much about feelings, but whose presence made her feel calm, seen, and slightly challenged at the same time. That's where the key combination appears. Emotional security plus stimulation. Too much security without tension creates boredom. Too much tension without security creates anxiety. But when both coexist, something deeper is triggered. The common mistake is trying to create attraction through over-effort, more messages, more availability, more explanations. Without realizing it, that excess removes the natural tension that allows her to invest emotionally. A woman begins to fall in love when she starts investing by her own will, not when you give more, not when you try harder, but when she starts thinking more. And this is something very few people understand. A woman doesn't fall in love only with the man she falls in love, with the emotional experience she lives with him. If, when she's with you, she feels calm but stimulated, heard but not overwhelmed, desired but not pressured, her mind begins to associate you with well-being, and the human brain naturally seeks what provides consistent emotional comfort. Effective neuroscience shows that bonds strengthen when a positive emotional experience is repeated without threat. If she doesn't feel pressure, judgment, or urgency with you, but instead feels presence, consistency, and direction, something begins to build. Then, something quiet happens. She starts observing you more. She starts measuring your reactions. She starts wondering what place she holds in your world. And when a woman begins to ask herself that question, she's no longer just curious, she's starting to invest emotionally. Contrast plays a fundamental role. If you are a man whose life doesn't revolve around her, who has direction, goals, and clear boundaries, yet still enjoys her company without depending on her, you become a stable point in her perception. And stability is magnetic. Because stability doesn't absorb, it allows closeness. Here's a deeper principle. Female desire increases when there is emotional space for her to move toward you. If you fill all the space with messages, explanations, and constant availability, she doesn't need to move. Everything is already given. But when your presence is calm, firm, and non-invasive, something else is activated. Emotional curiosity. And curiosity is the beginning of attachment. Many men confuse coldness with strength. They are not the same. Coldness is disconnection. Strength is consistency. A strong man doesn't change his energy to impress, doesn't over-explain, doesn't compete for attention, and doesn't beg for validation. He is simply consistent. From the theory of internal coherence, we know that people trust those whose words, actions, and reactions are aligned. That alignment creates emotional predictability, and predictability reduces fear. When a woman perceives that there are no sudden shifts, no manipulation, no games with you, she lowers her guard. And when she lowers her guard, she can begin to feel. Love doesn't happen under pressure, it happens when the nervous system feels safe. And here's an uncomfortable truth. A woman can say she doesn't want to fall in love and still do it, because the process doesn't depend on her conscious intention, but on the emotional experience she has with you. If she feels at peace with you, if she doesn't have to defend herself, if she doesn't feel responsible for maintaining your ego, if she doesn't sense neediness, she begins to relax. And when she relaxes, she begins to open up. But there's one more element, challenge. Not psychological games, but not being completely predictable in your emotional availability, not reacting from anxiety when she pulls back slightly. Do not change your attitude to regain her interest. When you stay centered, even in the face of her distance, you send a powerful message. My stability does not depend on your reaction. That message creates respect, and respect is the foundation of desire. Many women don't recognize the exact moment when they cross the line between interest and love. One day, they simply notice that their mood begins to change depending on your presence or absence. They start wondering why you took longer to reply. They begin replaying conversations without realizing it. They start adjusting their behavior. That is emotional investment. An investment begins when she feels she can move closer to you but cannot control you. If she feels she can easily influence you, tension disappears. If she feels she cannot approach you at all, security disappears. But if she senses that she cannot destabilize you, and yet you receive her clearly when she comes closer, something deeper is activated. This is where many men ruin it. Right when she begins to show more interest, the man speeds up, becomes more intense, seeks definitions, asks for confirmation, and tries to secure something that is still in progress. That shift breaks the original consistency. She senses the anxiety, and anxiety creates pressure, and pressure kills the process. Female attraction needs emotional continuity, not extreme highs or sudden changes. It needs the same man who attracted her at the beginning to remain the same when she starts getting closer, not more intense, not more needy, not more pleasing, just the same, solid and present. When you stay grounded in yourself, even when she doubts, something shifts inside her. Instead of wondering if you like her, she starts wondering, can she meet your emotional standard? That's the invisible shift. And once it happens, the process has already begun. Female love grows when emotion meets consistency. A good impression is not enough. Curiosity is not enough. Even tension is not enough. Without consistency, everything fades. Here's a key principle. Emotions need repetition to become attachment. One moment can have an impact, but only consistency creates a bond. When you keep your boundaries calm, your interest without neediness, and your path without seeking her approval, she begins to adjust naturally. Not because you control her, but because consistency creates stability. People value what is not easily available. If your emotional state depends on her behavior, you become predictable and fragile. But if you stay stable, you become solid, and that solidity creates deep attraction. This is where boundaries matter. Not dramatic ones, not aggressive ones, but calm and clear. If she disrespects you, don't react. Just disengage. If she keeps cancelling, reduce your availability. If she's unsure, don't try to convince her. Keep moving forward. Natural consequences are stronger than words. When you don't chase explanations, don't beg for clarity, and don't force labels, she feels the space. And space creates awareness. Within that space, something decisive appears, your emotional absence. Not disappearing as a strategy, not ignoring to punish, but maintaining your life intact. Attachment psychology shows that desire increases when there is slight uncertainty within a secure framework. If you're always available in the same way, there's no risk, and where there's no risk, there's no investment. But if your presence is genuine, and your absence is natural because you have your own direction, she begins to value access to you. And valuing is the beginning of attachment. Many women don't fall in love when everything is easy. They fall in love when they feel they could lose something meaningful. Here's a truth few accept. A woman begins to fall in love when she feels she cannot easily move you but can still approach you without fear. That means you don't become unstable if she pulls back. You don't change your energy to regain attention. You don't intensify your interest when you sense distance. You remain. Consistency creates safety. Safety allows openness. Openness allows attachment. But there's a silent mistake that destroys everything just when she begins to get more involved. Fear. When a man senses she's getting closer, he may either relax too much or become anxious. He starts demanding clarity, seeking constant reassurance, needing guarantees. That shift is subtle, but it's felt. And when she perceives it, something contracts because the stable man she was attracted to now appears dependent on the relationship. Female attraction does not grow under emotional pressure. It needs to feel like a choice, not an obligation. If she feels she now has to manage your insecurities, desire drops. If she feels her interest destabilizes you, respect fades. True emotional control is not about doing more when she gets closer. It's about maintaining the same balance that created attraction in the first place. Not colder, not more intense, not more pleasing, just consistent, present, available, but not needy. There's another deep sign that the process is advancing. She starts to care about you emotionally. Pay attention to this. When a woman falls in love, she begins to filter her words. She avoids hurting you unnecessarily. She genuinely cares about your well-being. She adjusts her behavior without you asking. That care doesn't come from obligation, it comes from investment. A woman does not protect what she doesn't value. She doesn't invest in what she feels she can lose without consequence. And when she begins to fear losing you, not from irrational fear, but because she perceives your value, attachment deepens. But that value is not declared, it is lived. Your direction, your stability, your ability to remain grounded even if she doubts. Here's a final principle. A woman does not fall in love with the man who needs her. She falls in love with the man who can be without her, but chooses her from a place of completeness. When you are not trying to complete yourself through her, but instead share from your center, everything changes. You stop chasing the outcome. You start embodying your identity. And paradoxically, that's when the outcome appears. Because female attraction does not respond to excessive effort, it responds to inner solidity. It doesn't respond to insistence, it responds to consistency. It doesn't respond to control, it responds to security combined with freedom. In the end, a woman falls in love when she feels she can lower her guard without losing desire. When she can move closer without feeling trapped, when she senses that you are not trying to possess her but also not dissolving yourself to please her. That balance is rare, and what is rare is valued. If you understand this, you stop obsessing over how to make her fall in love. You start working on who you are when no one is validating you. You begin building a stability that doesn't depend on external reactions. And when you move from that place, something changes not just in how women perceive you, but in how you experience any relationship. Falling in love stops being a goal, it becomes a consequence. And the right consequences always come from a solid identity, not from a desperate strategy.